My gosh, you're talking about cracking up. I was cracking up. I said, go ahead on, Miss Handy. That's right. That's how you do that. That right? The first testimony that I want to give was when I think it was in 2012 when I was working at a nursing home. I was a charge nurse in a nursing home. The floor I worked on was a skilled floor, and it had a lot of trach tubes, patients with G tubes, and everything was going on a skilled floor. And it was 70 something residents on this floor, or patients on this floor. So I came up on the second floor, and the nurse I wasn't relieving her, but she was doing a double. I was working with her that night, so she gave me a report about what was happening with the second floor. And she talked about this new resident that we had. This lady's name was Miss Handy. Miss Handy was about 77 years old, and she had a trach, and she had a G tube, and she had a Foley catheter, and she was just giving the nurses on that floor the flux, because she was continuously pulling at her G tube and at her trach, and so she said, so that's somebody that we're going to have to babysit, because you like it on the nursing floor when you're in nursing, and the residents at night are cool and they're not upset and they're just sleeping throughout the night. That's the night that you like. But anyway, I went in the room to see her, Miss Handy, and sure enough, she was doing exactly what the nurse had reported that she was doing. And so I had to quickly grab her arms and her hands so that she wouldn't pull the trach out and hurt herself. And I would talk to her and say, Mrs. Handy, if you pull this trach out, they're just going to send you out to the hospital for them to reinsert it. I said, and that's going to be very painful. So to avoid this, you just got to be cool. And so I was looking around her room real quick. That's what nurses do. We assess the area that we're in. And I was looking around the room, and I spotted a King James Bible. And I looked at her and I said, Miss Handy, I said, do you believe in God? And she said. And so I asked her, I said, what happened? She signed for some paper and a pencil. There's some gnat in here. I can't stand gnats. But anyway, for a piece of paper and a pencil, something to write with. So I gave that to her. And she wrote on this paper, she said, I passed out. I was at home. I passed out. And I woke up and I was in here. I don't belong here. I don't belong. This stuff don't belong in me. And she got to, grabbing it, about to snatch it again. And I was like, oh, okay, calm down. And I was like trying to think real quick. I was like, Miss Handy, since you believe in God, let God handle this. Let him get you out of here, and it'll be more peaceful, and you won't have to injure yourself. You're just going to have to be patient and wait till God do it. You can't do it yourself. You can't get yourself out of here. You're going to have to allow God to do it, because if I start telling her the restraints and stuff, or the things that would happen to her if she kept this up. They would dope her up, or they would put some kind of restraint on her. They'll put on something to make her mind some kind of antidepressant or something like that. But anyway, so she agreed, and we prayed. So I prayed for her and prayed that God would take her case, and that God will get her, God will do whatever is best for her. And I said, she's desiring to go home, and I pray for her to be able to go home and all of this stuff. And Miss Handy looked at me and she was like, yeah, okay, I got you. So I left out the room. And over the months that she had stayed there, because I think she was there maybe 7 or 8 months after me and her had that talk. And I would, whenever I was working, I would go by her room, whether I was working that side or not. I would go by and visit her and say a quick prayer for her to keep her encouraged to wait and everything. And everybody was like, okay, she's doing a little better. She was still clowning somewhat, but she was doing a little better. And however, though, over like the next 3 to 4 months, her trach got taken out. And following that, her G tube got taken out. And then her Foley catheter got taken out. I mean, all of these things were being removed from her slowly but surely. And so maybe 6, 7 months later, I came in and sitting down talking to the nurse at that time, giving me report. And the nurse said, do you know I was sitting here and there was this little bitty old short lady. She said she couldn't have been no taller than whatever. And she just walked on out over to the elevator, pushed the button, got on the elevator, and went on downstairs. Now she said it was like 5 o'clock or something like that. So I thought that this was a resident's family visiting. And so I didn't say anything. But I come to find out that that was Miss Handy, who had gotten dressed and left her room, and her daughter was waiting on her downstairs to take her home. Oh my gosh, you're talking about cracking up. I was cracking up. I said, go ahead on, Miss Handy. That's right. That's how you do that. That right there, that's how you do that. The reason why I say that is because, today I had gone back to nursing after being away from nursing for about 12 years. For 12 years, I wasn't working as a nurse. And when I went back, everything just seemed worse. Everything was just happening so fast. When I was first working as a nurse, when I became a nurse in 1993, it wasn't that many trachs and it wasn't that many feeding tube. I mean, I worked at a nursing home then. We might have had about 7 G tubes, something like that. The way it is now, it's like 20 something. Almost every room has a trach or a G tube or Foley. Something is going on with residents and things are just going on. It seems like they're getting worse. So in a sense, and you know that we're not supposed to share our faith with people. You're a nurse. You're not supposed to go in the room and talk about God and all that stuff. So I didn't talk about God in that sense. But residents who brought up God to me, yes, I would talk back to them about him because they brought up the topic. But I just didn't. Of course, you can't push your faith on anyone. So I just was playing it cool like that. But I'm just saying, for that to have happened, and that was in, I want to say that had to be 2012 or 13, something like that happened. I was so glad that happened because that encouraged me to be more hopeful for the patients that I was seeing coming into this facility that wasn't getting well. I just didn't like nursing, because patients were not getting healed. And I had a problem with that. I don't know about you. I had a problem with that because I've always longed for people to be healed and be well, So anyway, that was my testimony about Miss Handy. Yes, Miss Handy was something else. Yes, she was.